We'll go to the table 3.3. There are some samples given in your book where some original color of that sample you have to write. Then with universal indicator, is there any change? If there is a change, the color you have to write. Based on this color, we have to write the pH, approximate pH, and from the pH, we will write the nature of the substance. As I said, universal indicator comes in the form of strips of paper which are yellow in color. And this indicator is made by mixing number of indicators. That's why it is called as universal indicator. It's very easy to use. Take that strip of paper and dip it in any of the samples. There will be some change in the color of that sample. And that change in color, we have to measure it with the strip given to us. There is a range of colors of strip which is given to us. We have to match that color and find out the pH. This is how the universal indicator works. Let's see the samples and their changes. First is kokum sample. If I take kokum and put it in water for some time, that color, purple color comes in it. Original purple color of kokum. Then original color is purple. It's not written here because you can write, sometimes if it is only one kokum you have taken, it will be pinkish in color. If you are taking more than 2 or 3 kokums, it will become darker in color. Then if I use a universal indicator, I take a strip and I dip it in the kokum extract, I'll get an orange color. Now the orange color, according to the strip which is given to us along with the universal indicator, it indicates that orange color is indicating the pH between 4 to 5. So approximate, seeing the color on the strip, the 4.5 approximate pH is written. Now as I said, from 0 to 7 in the scale of pH, it is always acidic in nature. So if it is 4.5, the nature will be acidic. That means the substance kokum sarbat or kokum extract will be acidic in nature. Second sample is palak extract or the spinach. That spinach, what to do? Cut it into pieces, put it in water for some time. So that green color will come in water. So original color is green. Whether it is light green or dark green, it is green. Then when I put the universal indicator in that sample, that is changes to violet in color. Now violet color, more than dark blue, it changes to violetish color, not exactly dark violet. So the pH we can find out from the strip of indicator, the strip which is given to us along with the indicator, it indicates that it might be between 9 to 10 or approximately 9.2 or 9.3. If it is more than 7, I had told you if it is more than 7 and less than 14, it is basic in nature. So when I write nature, I will write basic in nature. From the pH, we can easily find out whether the nature of that substance is acidic in nature or basic in nature. The third sample taken is aerated drinks. Now what are aerated drinks? You drink all sort of cold drinks, cola or thumbs up. What are they? They are nothing. The water, to the water, carbon dioxide is added along with the flavor, and that is called as aerated drink. This aerated drink actually doesn't have its any color. If you are drinking cola, you get a brown color, that color is added to it. Originally, this drink will not have any color. But with indicator, that is a universal indicator, it will turn to greenish yellow. Now the paper universal indicator itself is yellow in color, but it will turn to greenish yellow, showing that the pH is less than 7 and not very dark green. So we can identify it or we can approximate it to around 6. So if pH is 6, it is less than 7. That means the nature will be acidic in nature. The fourth sample is tomato juice. All of us know tomatoes are red in color. So if I make juice of it, it will be red color. So original color is red. With the universal indicator, I take the universal indicator strip and I put it in the tomato juice. This strip will turn to yellow color, and this yellow color is indicating that it is less than 7. If it is more than 7, it will start changing the color towards the violet color. So if it is less than 7, it is acidic in nature. Now this less than 7, this mark is less than mark. It is written less than 7 because we couldn't say whether it is between 5 to 6 or 6 to 7. So approximately we can say it is less than 7. If it is less than 7, the nature is acidic in nature. Next sample is dilute nitric acid. HNO3 means nitric acid. Nitric acid originally doesn't have any color. So its original color is colorless. When I use a indicator, universal indicator strip in HNO3, it turns to red color. Now this red color, when it turns to red color, immediately we can make out from the strip, the color strip which is given to us, that it is less than 7. And if it is less than 7, it is acidic in nature. Now, I have used dilute nitric acid, so it will not be very dark red. It might be reddish or less than the blood red color. That's why it is only written less than 7. If I had used concentrated, here the color would be very, very dark red, and then we can say it might be 1 or 2 pH. So it depends on the concentration of acid. Next sample is dilute KOH or dilute potassium hydroxide. Dilute potassium hydroxide doesn't have its own color. So I can say original color is colorless. Now with the universal indicator, I take a strip and I dip it in KOH, it will turn violet in color. Now since I am using dilute one, it will not turn very dark violet, but yes, it will turn to violet in color. When it is turning violet in color, if I match it with the color strip, I can see the pH is more than 7. That means the pH range will be between 7 to 14, and it indicates that it is alkaline in nature or basic in nature. Next sample is prepared tea. Now what is prepared tea? The tea which we take from the market is the tea leaves, dried tea leaves. We are not taking that dry one, we are making actually the tea. When we make tea, the tea color is reddish brown. As you all know, what is the color of tea? When we drink tea, we can see it is brownish in color, reddish brownish in color. Original color, reddish brown. When I use it with the universal indicator, it turns to greenish yellow. That means that strip, if I put it in tea, that strip will turn to greenish color. Greenish color indicates that the pH is less than 7. If the pH is less than 7, it indicates the nature as acidic. So when I say that tea is acidic, because it is showing the acidic nature, the pH becomes less than 7. Next sample is ginger juice with honey. Now ginger juice with honey is taken, its original color is light brown. Ginger, if you take and grate it, you take the juice, add honey to it, honey is brownish in color, so it is light brown in color, original color is light brown. With universal indicator, it turns to green. Now, the things will turn to green in universal indicator if it is, I am not saying greenish yellow, I am saying green. At green color, the green color indicates that the pH is around 7. That means it is neutral. At 7 or around 7. If it is less than 7, I'll say it is acidic. If it is more than 7, I'll say it is basic. But since it is showing exact green color, as the color matches from the strip which is given, I can say that ginger juice and honey is neutral in nature. It is neither acidic nor basic. And the last sample here is buttermilk. Now buttermilk is white in color, as we know, original color is white. I put an indicator, a universal indicator strip, it turns to greenish yellow. Now greenish yellow, that means it is less than 7. according to the color strip which we get. And if it is less than 7, it indicates the nature as acidic in nature. So this helps us to come to know what is the pH value of any substance given and what is the nature. And this is possible because universal indicator is made from combinations of all the types of indicators and it is easy to use. You must have seen in advertisements also where they are claiming that the soap, this particular soap has pH value 7 and all other soaps are basic in nature. This is indication that a neutral soap is not harmful for your skin, but the other soaps are harmful for your skins. This is the advertising gimmick, and this is advertising gimmick. Many times they are giving us a strip also along with the newspapers to test it by yourself. This is how that the strip is actually nothing but the universal indicator strip to test yourself. So we studied about acids and bases, their nature, how to find out. We were talking about pH. Now what does actually the pH stands for? P means potence and H means hydrogen ion concentration. So it is nothing but the potence or potential of hydrogen ion concentration. How much amount of hydrogen ion is present in that particular solution? That indicates whether it is acidic in nature or basic in nature. When I say pH, I am saying about hydrogen ion concentration. If I say pOH, I am saying about hydroxyl ion concentration. Now this is a pH scale which I was talking about. See, its scale starts from 0 to 14. From 0 to 7, all this between 0 to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This scale shows 0 to 7 as acidic. From 7 to 14, it shows as basic. And at 7, it is neutral. This is called as pH scale. What can we find from pH scale? We can actually find the strength of acid and base from a pH scale. Now what do you mean by strength of acid? I had given a sample dilute HCl and concentrated HCl. Now when I use this word dilute and concentrated, what do you mean by that? Dilute HCl means the acid content is less and the water content is more. But in concentrated HCl, the acid content is more and the water content is less. If I ask you to find the strength of dilute HCl and concentrated HCl, theoretically, when I say acid content is less here and water content is more here, you will say theoretically that the pH value of dilute HCl will be more than the pH value of concentrated HCl. Why? Because H ions here, the H ions are less as compared to H ions in concentrated HCl. On a pH scale, if I say concentrated HCl will be around pH around 1 or 2, am I right or am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong? You have to think in theoretical terms. Hydrogen ion concentration, is it more in concentrated HCl? I say yes, it is more. Then you will say that it will be around 1 or 2. That means the pH value is around 1 or 2. If I say dilute HCl, in dilute HCl, content of H ions is less as compared to concentrated HCl. So dilute HCl may show the pH value around 3 to 4. So when I compare dilute HCl and concentrated HCl, I say the concentrated HCl will show less pH and dilute HCl will show more pH. This is the strength of an acid when I am comparing it with pH scale. The number of hydrogen ion concentration or the number of hydrogen ions present in a solution will determine the strength of an acid. And the number of hydroxyl ion concentration will determine the strength of the base. Hydroxyl ion concentration means OH ions. Now this OH ions will be present in base and H ions will be present in acid. In this pH scale, what happens if I start from 0, go towards 14, the H ion concentration decreases when you go from 0 to 14. Right? And after 7, the OH ion concentration increases from 7 to 14. So in short, if I say from 0 to 14, hydrogen ion concentration decreases and OH ion concentration increases. This is determining the strength of an acid or a base. So this is how the pH scale is very useful for understanding the strength of acid and base. Based on this, there is a question box in your book. We can discuss the questions. First question is, what are strong acids and strong base, and what are weak acids and weak base? If I say strong acid, what is a strong acid? When the H ions are more, I call it as a strong acid. When the H ions are less, I call it as a weak acid. The example, strong acid, I'll say hydrochloric acid is very strong, sulfuric acid is very strong, nitric acid is very strong. But if I say acetic acid is a very weak acid because the number of hydrogen ions are very less in acetic acid as compared to hydrochloric acid. What about strong base and weak base? Strong bases, examples are sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. It is very strong base. But if I compare it with the ammonium hydroxide, the hydroxide ion concentration in ammonium hydroxide is less as compared to OH or hydroxyl ion concentration in potassium hydroxide. So this is how we can compare the strong acid and strong acid and weak acid, strong base and weak base. Second question is, you are provided with 3 test tubes. One has water, one has acid and a third one has alkali in it. One water, one acid, one alkali. 3 test tubes. Using methyl orange, will you be able to identify them? Now methyl orange is a synthetic indicator. In base, whichever is alkaline, this methyl orange will turn yellow in color. So add methyl orange to all 3. It will show change in color only in one. Which one? The solution which is basic in nature. In the solution which is basic in nature, it will turn to orange color. And in acid, in another solution, it will turn to pink color. So if it is turning to orange color, that solution is base. If it is turning to pink color, that solution is acid. And if it is not changing any color, it is water. So this is how you can identify it. Third question, if the concentration of OH ions is increased, what will it increase or decrease? Now OH ions are increasing. You can see in the scale, pH scale, I have written OH ion increases when you go from left to right in a scale of pH. If OH ions is increasing, I can say pH is increasing, because the lower the pH, it is acidic. The higher the pH, it is basic. So it is increasing the pH value. These are the questions which are based on the pH scale. Now, are we affected by pH in our body? This is a very basic question. Is our body affected by change in pH? Change in hydrogen ion concentration, change in hydroxide ion concentration. Is our body affected? Yes, very much. You must have heard about acidity. When we eat very spicy food, when we eat very hot food, we feel a burning sensation inside our body. During digestion, the hydrochloric acid is being produced by your stomach. This stomach is producing hydrochloric acid, and on top of it, if you are eating very spicy food, very hot food, we get a burning sensation. And that burning sensation is because our body acidity has increased. The the amount of hydrogen ion concentration has increased in our body. And that's why we are suffering from that burning sensation. The extreme cases, people vomit also. So what to do in such cases? In such cases, we are advised to eat such type of food which have antacids, or we take some type of medicines which contains some basic substance in it. Very common example is Gelusil we are advised to take. Now what is that Gelusil contain? That Gelusil contain magnesium hydroxide, and that is a base which is actually neutralizing the amount of acid produced extra in your body. What does this tell us? It tells us that our body actually works or functions properly when the pH value is around 7 to 8, in between that. If it changes towards acidic side or more towards basic side, it starts creating problem in our digestion, and we have number of side effects along with it. Even the tooth enamel, the tooth we are using this teeth for chewing purpose. Now, if we are not cleaning our teeth, what happens? The food get entangled in the gaps of the tooth or the teeth. What happens then? The bacteria starts acting on that food. When the bacteria acts on the food, it produces an acid, and that acid acts on your calcium phosphate which is present in your tooth, and this leads to tooth decay. And that is why it is very advisable, and even the doctors and dentists tell that 2 times in a day we should brush our teeth and keep your teeth clean for this purpose only. Because if the pH decreases, then it directly attacks our calcium phosphate part of our tooth, and it leads to tooth decay. So this is how our body actually is reacting towards the acid, more acid or more base being produced in your body. Our body will function very well when your pH value is between 7 to 8. This is how our body also is reacting towards pH. What about the soil, where the farmers are using the crop to grow? Now what do they do first? They always check the pH value of the soil. Even if you go in your school garden or your house or somewhere around your surroundings, you take the sample of soil, put water in it and stir it nicely. Let it settle for some time, and then take that sample of water and test with pH. You will find that some type of soil will be very acidic and some type of soil will be very basic. So what does the farmer do? Farmer first checks the soil acidity or basicity. That means he is checking the pH value. If he finds that his soil is very acidic in nature, what he will do? He will try to neutralize it. He will try to neutralize it with some chemicals which contains base, and then he will sprinkle it over the soil and let some days go so that the neutralization reaction takes place. Why? Because all the crops and agriculture, actually the crops are growing in the neutral medium. They do not require acid medium or they do not require basic medium. If the soil is more acidic, the acid content will go into their body parts of the plant and they may hamper that growth. And this is the reason the soil should be around neutral or around 7 pH. And then only the proper growth of the crops will take place. This is how we are seeing that our surroundings are also based on pH. Another example, rainwater. We say the rainwater is getting mixed with the pollutants and it is coming down as acid rain. So why are we calling them as acid rain? What is forming acid? Now there are so many types of pollutants coming from the vehicles, coming from the industries, coming from the factories. The most common pollutants which are going in the air are carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide and various types of oxides of nitrogen. Now what is happening? They are going in the air and getting mixed with the atmosphere. Now when they get water, that means suppose the rain is coming they mix with the rainwater. When they mix with the rainwater, they turn acidic. If I say one example, sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide mixes with water, forming sulfurous acid and sulfuric acid. Nitrogen dioxide, when it mixes with water, it forms nitric acid. So this is how they form acid. Carbon dioxide, if it mixes with water, it forms carbonic acid. So these pollutants mix with the rainwater, turn into dilute acids and come down in the form of acid rain. Now, is acid rain harmful to us? Yes, it is harmful to the organisms living in water, to the organisms living on this earth, to the plants, to the animals, even to the monuments. The best example where the monument has got corroded is the Taj Mahal. It is said that Taj Mahal was pure white, but now that shade has changed to yellow. One of the major reasons is the pollution around the Taj Mahal in Agra, where a lot of rubber factories and chemical factories are there. These factories are emitting so many pollutants which are actually bringing the acid rain, and the color of Taj Mahal has changed. What will happen if this acid rain mixes with river water, lake water, pond water? What will happen to them? The water will turn acidic in nature, and this will affect the organisms present inside the water. Now, organisms can be plant also and animals also. The fishes, the small insects, the plants, the phytoplanktons which are growing in the water, they get affected by this acidic nature, and it helps the algae to grow very fast. And in general, if the algae grows very fast, it is cutting down the amount of oxygen which is absorbed by the water. So indirect effect is seen on the organisms present in water. What will happen about if the acid rain is coming down on the organisms living on land? They also get affected, because the land animals, they cannot take shelter anytime. They are present on the land. We can talk about small insects, small animals, the animals living in the jungles. They are also affected, and their skin also gets affected due to acid rain. So these pollutants are bringing down the acid rains, which is affecting the ecosystem. When I talk about ecosystem, the ecosystem is the biological animals, plants, microorganisms, along with when they live with the non-living objects or non-living atmospheric things, that forms an ecosystem. And whole ecosystem gets disturbed because of the acid rain. Here also pH is playing a very important role, because the acid rain is changing the pH and decreasing the pH in water and in soil. So this is how we see the pH is affecting the human beings, all the other animals, all the other plants, even the aquatic animals and the plants.